The Defiance. Captain Ilara Chen stood in the observation deck of Luna Base, her eyes fixed on the massive construction bay floating in orbit below. The skeletal framework of what would soon become humanity's most advanced warship gleamed under the work lights. 5 years since first contact with the Galactic Council. 5 years of being treated like children who had stumbled into the adults' room. 5 years of being denied access to technologies that could have saved millions from disease and hunger, all in the name of proper technological development timelines. Beautiful, isn't she? Admiral Takahashi's voice broke through her thoughts as he joined her at the viewport. She will be, Ilara replied. When will the Phantom Drive be installed? Tomorrow. Dr. Rivera's team just completed the final calibrations. Takahashi's weathered face remained expressionless, but Ilara caught the hint of pride in his voice. The Council inspectors leave Mars tomorrow. Once they're out of the system, we'll move to final assembly. Ilara nodded. The Galactic Council maintained strict control over technological development among its member species. Humanity, as newcomers to the interstellar community, were subjected to particularly stringent oversight. Officially, Earth was developing its fleet according to Council guidelines. Unofficially, that was another matter entirely. The Vorn Empire has expanded their claim to include Proxima Centauri, Takahashi said, changing the subject. The Council has acknowledged their historical right to the system. Proxima is a human colony, Ilara replied sharply. We've had settlers there for 20 years. Which means nothing to species that measure their histories in thousands of years. Takahashi handed her a datapad. The Council has requested that we relocate our colonists within 6 months. Ilara scanned the official document, anger building as she read. The Vorn Empire had joined the Galactic Council 800 years ago and used their political influence to steadily expand their territory. They claimed 27 star systems now, and the Council had approved every acquisition. We're not giving up Proxima, she said firmly. No, we're not, Takahashi agreed. That's why the TSV Defiance needs to be ready. The Council won't help us when the Vorn come to enforce their claim. We'll be on our own. 3 months later, deep within a classified facility under the Pacific Ocean, Dr. Sofia Rivera activated the Phantom Drive for its first full-scale test. The quantum field fluctuated, stabilized, and then glowed with an eerie blue light that seemed to bend around its housing rather than emanate from it. Phase variance at 0.002%, her assistant reported. Well within parameters. Sophia allowed herself a small smile. Stable quantum displacement field at 50% capacity. We've done it. Behind reinforced glass, military and civilian observers broke into applause. The Phantom Drive represented the culmination of 15 years of theoretical physics research and engineering innovation. It violated at least 3 different Council technology restrictions. How soon can it be installed on the Defiance? General Williams asked as the test concluded. 2 weeks, Sophia replied. But there's something you should know. She lowered her voice. The drive doesn't just allow for FTL travel. Its quantum field can be extended around the ship's hull. When active, it partially shifts the vessel out of phase with normal spacetime. Meaning conventional sensors can't detect it. Conventional weapons can't hit it. Nothing we know of can track it when the field is at full strength. The general's eyes widened slightly. You've built us a ghost ship. No, Sophia corrected. I've built you something better. A Phantom. The TSV Defiance launched in secret 3 months later. Unlike the bulky, utilitarian designs of standard human vessels, or the sleek organic curves favored by most Council species, the Defiance was angular and asymmetrical. Its hull was composed of interlocking plates that could reconfigure themselves for different mission profiles. At the heart of the ship lay the Phantom Drive, now fully integrated with every system. Captain Ilara Chen took command with a carefully selected crew of 400. They trained in deep space, far from prying eyes, pushing the revolutionary ship to its limits. The Defiance could outrun any known vessel, disappear from sensors at will, and deliver devastating strikes from weapons that technically shouldn't exist. The Vorn have crossed the boundary, Communications Officer Park announced one quiet afternoon as they patrolled the edge of the solar system. 36 warships have entered the Proxima Centauri system. Ilara's hands tightened on the arms of her command chair. Time to intercept the colony. At their current speed, 18 hours, she exchanged glances with her XO, Commander Gabriel Santos. They had both known this day was coming. "Alert Earth Command," she ordered. "Tell them the Defiance is moving to intercept." "Captain," Santos said quietly, "our orders are to observe and report only. We're not authorized to engage." "We're authorized to protect human lives," Ilara replied. "Plot a course to Proxima Centauri, maximum speed. We'll be there in 6 hours." The Defiance slipped into quantum drive, vanishing from normal space in a brief flash of blue light. 6 hours later, they emerged at the edge of the Proxima system, sensors immediately detecting the Vorn fleet moving toward the human colony world. 36 warships, Tactical Officer Yamato confirmed. "Standard Vorn configuration. They haven't detected us yet. Keep the phantom field at 80%, Ilara ordered. "Just enough to mask us from long-range scans. Let's get closer and assess their deployment." The Defiance glided through space, invisible to conventional sensors. As they approached, they intercepted Vorn communications. "They're broadcasting an evacuation order," Park reported. "The colonists have 12 hours to abandon the settlement before orbital bombardment begins." Ilara's jaw tightened. "Open a channel to the Vorn flagship." Her officers exchanged concerned glances. "Captain," Santos cautioned, "revealing our presence here. We'll let them know that humanity doesn't abandon its people," Ilara finished. "Open the channel." The main view screen flickered to life, revealing the imposing figure of a Vorn commander. The reptilian alien's scaled face registered first surprise, then contempt. "This is Captain Ilara Chen of the Terran space vessel Defiance," she announced. "You are preparing to attack a legally established human settlement. Withdraw your forces immediately." The Vorn commander's crest flared with amusement. "A single ship. The humans send a single ship." His translator rendered his hissing speech into flat English. "This system belongs to the Vorn Empire by right of historical claim, recognized by the Galactic Council. Your colony exists in violation of galactic law. Proxima Centauri has been settled by humans for over 20 years, Ilara replied calmly. "We were here before we knew of your existence or your supposed claim. Ignorance of law excuses no one," the commander replied. "You have been granted generous terms to evacuate. Accept them, or your colonists will perish with their settlement." "I have a counteroffer," Ilara said. "Leave this system now, and we won't be forced to demonstrate why that would be in your best interest." The Vorn's laughter cut through the transmission. "Your species' arrogance is amusing. Perhaps we should make an example of your vessel first." He turned to an officer off-screen. "Target the human ship." The transmission cut. Moments later, 3 Vorn cruisers broke formation, moving to intercept the Defiance. "They've locked weapons on our position," Yamato reported. "Evasive maneuvers," Ilara ordered. "Bring the phantom field to full power." The Defiance's hull rippled as the quantum field intensified. The approaching Vorn cruisers faltered, their sensors suddenly unable to maintain a lock on the human vessel. "They're firing blindly," Santos observed as energy weapons lanced through empty space where the Defiance had been moments before. "Armament status?" Ilara asked. "Graviton lance charged and ready. Quantum torpedoes loaded." Ilara took a deep breath. Once they fired, there would be no going back. Earth would face severe consequences from the Council. But if they didn't act, 3,000 colonists would lose their homes, or their lives. "Target the lead cruiser's propulsion systems only," she ordered. "Fire Graviton lance, minimal yield." The weapon had never been tested in actual combat. Developed in secret by Earth's best physicists, it manipulated gravitational forces in ways the Council had explicitly forbidden. As the lance fired, Space itself seemed to distort around the targeted Vorn cruiser. Metal groaned and twisted as localized gravity intensified 1,000-fold, crushing the ship's engines into useless debris. "Direct hit," Yamato reported, unable to keep the awe from his voice. "Target's propulsion systems destroyed. Life support intact. The other cruisers are breaking off their attack." Ilara opened a channel to the entire Vorn fleet. This was a demonstration, not an attack. "The Defiance is capable of far more than what you just witnessed. I'm giving you one last opportunity to withdraw from this system." For several tense minutes, there was no response. Then the Vorn commander appeared on screen again, his crest now flat against his head. A sign of anger or fear, Ilara wasn't sure which. "This technology is forbidden by Council law," he hissed. "You have violated the Technology Development Treaty of Alpha Centaurus, and you're threatening human lives," Ilara replied. "I know which violation I consider more serious. Will you withdraw, or shall we continue this demonstration?" The Vorn fleet began to move, shifting formation away from the colony world. "This is not over, human," the commander warned. "The Council will hear of this abomination you have created. Make sure you tell them exactly what happened here today," Ilara said. "That humans protect their own." As the Vorn retreated from the system, cheers erupted across the Defiance's bridge. But Ilara remained solemn, knowing that their victory would be short-lived. The Galactic Council would not ignore such a flagrant violation of their technological restrictions. "Send a message to Earth Command," she told Park. "The Vorn fleet is retreating. Proxima Centauri is secure for now, but we should expect significant political fallout." Within hours, emergency sessions were called throughout the Galactic Council. The Vorn Empire formally accused Earth of developing and deploying prohibited weaponry. Evidence of the Defiance's capabilities spread quickly, causing alarm among the established powers. By the time the Defiance returned to Earth, the Council had already issued its response. Earth must surrender the vessel and all related technology immediately, or face severe sanctions. The debate raged in the United Earth government. Some argue for compliance, fearing the consequences of defying the Council. Others insisted that humanity needed the Defiance and its technology to survive in a galaxy it had repeatedly shown it wouldn't protect human interests. Admiral Takahashi met with Ilara as she disembarked from the Defiance at Luna Base. His expression was grave. "The Council has officially condemned us," he said without preamble. "They've given us 72 hours to surrender the Defiance for decommissioning. And if we refuse, diplomatic isolation, trade embargoes, possibly military enforcement." Ilara looked back at her ship, knowing what it represented, not just advanced technology, but humanity's refusal to be subjugated or controlled. "What are our orders, sir?" Takahashi handed her a sealed data chip. "The Security Council has made its decision. Your new orders are contained here, for your eyes only." Ilara took the chip, understanding the weight of what it likely contained. "What do I tell my crew?" "That humanity stands at a crossroads," Takahashi said quietly, "and the path we take now will determine our place in the galaxy for generations to come." Reckoning. The Grand Chamber of the Galactic Council hummed with tension. Representatives from 27 spacefaring civilizations gathered in the vast circular room, its ancient stone walls adorned with symbols of unity and cooperation that now seemed hollow to the human delegation. Ambassador Michaela Rodriguez stood alone at the central podium, facing the accusatory stares of the council elders. Behind her, observers from dozens of worlds watched with a mixture of fear, curiosity, and quiet admiration. "The evidence is incontrovertible," Elder Exerthal of the Vorn Empire declared, his scaled crest fully extended in righteous indignation. "The human vessel designated Defiance employs technology explicitly prohibited under Section 47 of the Technology Development Treaty. They have created weapons capable of manipulating fundamental forces, technology that was banned after the scouring of the three worlds." Rodriguez maintained her composure as holographic images of the Defiance's encounter with the Vorn fleet played above the chamber. "What my esteemed colleague fails to mention," she replied, "is that this encounter occurred in a human-settled system that was being threatened with military action. The Defiance acted to protect civilian lives, lives the Council had shown no interest in defending. The Proxima Centauri system was recognized as foreign territory," countered the Kelvaz representative, their luminous tendrils pulsing with agitation. "Recognized by a council vote that took place after humans had already established a colony there," Rodriguez pointed out. "A vote in which humanity, as a provisional member, had no say." Elder Zaya, the ancient Lorani whose species had helped found the Council millennia ago, raised a gnarled hand for silence. Unlike most Council members, the Lorani had remained neutral in the escalating dispute. "The development restrictions exist for a reason, Ambassador," Zaya said, her voice gentle but firm. "Technologies that manipulate gravitational forces at the quantum level have caused catastrophic damage in the past. Whole worlds were lost, species extinguished. The restrictions are not arbitrary. They are essential safeguards. We understand the risks," Rodriguez acknowledged, "but humanity cannot accept a system where we are perpetually vulnerable, denied the means to defend ourselves while established powers claim our territories with impunity." "The Council's decision stands," Elder Exerithal declared. "Earth will surrender the Defiance and all related technology within 48 hours or face consequences." As the session adjourned, Ambassador Rodriguez was approached by several representatives who had remained silent during the proceedings. The Takari delegate, whose crystalline form refracted light in complex patterns, spoke in low tones. "Not all Council members agree with this ultimatum," they said. "Some of us recognize the imbalance in current arrangements. Meet me at the Gardens of Reflection in 2 hours." Similar invitations came from the Solari and Ves representatives, species that had historically chafed under the dominance of the founding races. The political landscape was shifting in ways the Council elders hadn't anticipated. Meanwhile, aboard the Defiance, Captain Ilara Chen read her new orders for the 3rd time, ensuring she understood every detail. The ship was currently in high orbit around Neptune, running silent with the Phantom field active. Earth's other military vessels had been deployed in a defensive screen around the homeworld, preparing for possible Council enforcement action. "Is it true?" Commander Santos asked as he entered her ready room. "We're not surrendering the ship." Ilara secured the data chip containing her orders. "The United Earth government has officially declined the Council's demand. We've been ordered to withdraw from the solar system to prevent it from becoming a battleground." "Where are we going?" "That's classified," Ilara replied. "But I can tell you this isn't just about hiding. We have specific objectives to accomplish." Throughout the ship, crew members worked with grim determination. Everyone aboard understood the stakes. They were now labeled renegades by the most powerful political entity in known space. "Status of the retrofit?" Ilara asked as she and Santos entered the engine room. Chief Engineer Imani Okafor looked up from her console. "Phantom drive modifications are at 93%. Dr. Rivera's upgrades will increase our phase variance capability by 40%. And the new armaments. The Graviton Lance has been recalibrated for finer control. Quantum torpedoes are loaded and operational." Okafor hesitated. "Captain, those torpedoes haven't been fully tested. Their effect radius is theoretical at best." "Let's hope we don't need to find out the hard way," Ilara replied. 12 hours later, the Defiance slipped away from the solar system, its destination known only to Captain Chen and a handful of Earth's highest officials. As they accelerated past Neptune's orbit, sensors detected a massive surge of transit signatures, ships emerging from FTL travel. "Council Enforcement Fleet," Tactical Officer Yamoto confirmed. 117 vessels from at least 6 different species, primarily Vorn, Kelvaz, and Morrigan configurations. "They're not wasting any time," Santos observed grimly. "They won't find us," Ilara assured her crew. Phantom drive engaging in 3, 2, 1. The Defiance vanished into quantum space, leaving no trace for the approaching fleet to follow. On Earth, the arrival of the Council fleet caused widespread panic. News networks broadcast images of alien warships taking position around the planet, their weapons systems visibly powered but not yet targeting. The Council's ultimatum was broadcast globally: surrender the Defiance and all related technology, or face a complete blockade of the solar system. No ships would be allowed in or out. No communication with human colonies. Earth would be isolated until it complied. What the Council didn't realize was that isolation had been anticipated. For years, Earth had been quietly stockpiling resources, developing self-sufficiency in key industries, and establishing secure communication channels with its colonies that didn't rely on Council-controlled relays. More importantly, Ambassador Rodriguez's secret meetings with dissatisfied Council members were bearing fruit, while publicly maintaining the unified facade demanded by protocol. Several species began questioning the fairness of technology restrictions that primarily benefited the founding races. The Defiance emerged from quantum space near a remote star with no habitable planets, a pre-arranged rendezvous point. 3 vessels waited there, trading ships from the Takari, Solari, and Vest civilizations. "We're receiving a transmission," Park announced. "It's Ambassador Rodriguez." The ambassador's face appeared on the main view screen, her expression determined despite visible exhaustion. "Captain Chen, I'm glad to see the Defiance made it safely out of the solar system. We're at the rendezvous coordinates," Ilara confirmed. "What's the situation on Earth?" "Tense but stable. The Council fleet is maintaining the blockade, but they haven't taken hostile action yet. Meanwhile, I've been conducting unofficial diplomacy." The camera panned to show representatives from several alien species. Rodriguez continued, "These delegates represent civilizations that have long been frustrated with the Council's technological restrictions. They're interested in what humanity has achieved with the Phantom Drive. You're proposing an alliance," Ilara realized. "A mutually beneficial arrangement," the Takari delegate clarified. "We provide diplomatic support and resources. You share certain technological innovations. The Council has maintained power for millennia by ensuring no single species gains significant technological advantage," the Solari representative added. "A policy that has primarily benefited the founding races while keeping younger civilizations dependent." As they discussed terms, shocking news arrived from the Vorn Empire. A massive fleet, nearly 300 warships, had been deployed from their homeworld, bound not for Earth, but for the Proxima Centauri system. "They're going to make an example of the colony," Rodriguez explained grimly. "The Council officially opposes this action, but they won't intervene. The Vorn calculated that with the Defiance gone, the colony would be defenseless. Ilara's decision was immediate. We'll intercept them at Proxima." "Captain," Santos cautioned, "even with the Defiance's capabilities, we can't take on 300 warships." "We won't be alone," Rodriguez replied. "Our new allies have contributed vessels of their own. Not officially, of course. These will be independent operators acting without government sanction." "How many ships?" 27. Not enough to match the Vorn fleet, but enough to make a difference if the Defiance leads the way. 2 days later, the unlikely coalition gathered at the edge of the Proxima Centauri system. The Defiance, alongside vessels from 4 different species, prepared to face an overwhelming force. "The Vorn fleet will arrive in approximately 6 hours, Yamato reported. "They're moving in standard battle formation." Ilara addressed the assembled captains via secure channel. "Our objective is to protect the human colony. We're outgunned and outnumbered, but we have advantages they don't expect. The Defiance will lead the first strike, targeting their command ships. When they return fire, we'll draw them away from the colony while our allies target their support vessels." The plan was bold, perhaps reckless, but the alternative, allowing the Vorn to demolish a human settlement as an act of retribution, was unacceptable. As the massive Vorn fleet emerged from FTL, the Defiance activated its phantom field at maximum capacity, becoming virtually undetectable. It slipped silently through the enemy formation, approaching the command vessel at the center of the fleet. "Graviton lance charge," Yamato reported. "Target locked." "Fire," Ilara ordered. The weapon's effect was devastating. Unlike their previous encounter, where they had deliberately minimized damage, this time the Graviton lance was unleashed at full power. The Vorn flagship's structure collapsed inward, crushed by forces its designers had never anticipated. Before the Vorn could respond, the Defiance struck twice more, eliminating key command vessels and throwing the enemy fleet into confusion. Their allies seized the opportunity, attacking from multiple vectors with coordinated precision. "The Vorn are regrouping," Santos warned as the battle entered its second hour. "They're adapting to our attack pattern." "Activate the quantum torpedoes," Ilara ordered. "Target their primary battle group." These weapons, the most controversial of the Defiance's armaments, had never been deployed in actual combat. As they detonated among the Vorn ships, they created localized quantum disruptions that temporarily shifted portions of enemy vessels out of phase with normal space. The effect was catastrophic, as ships partially merged with vacuum, their structures torn apart at the molecular level. The battle raged for hours, but the outcome was no longer in doubt. Despite their overwhelming numerical advantage, the Vorn fleet was outmatched by technology they couldn't counter. Eventually, their remaining commanders ordered a retreat, leaving nearly 100 damaged or destroyed vessels behind. News of the battle spread quickly throughout Council space. The Defiance, a single ship that the Council had declared illegal, had led a small coalition to victory against one of the most powerful military forces in the galaxy. More importantly, it had done so to protect a civilian colony that the Council had abandoned to its fate. The political impact was immediate and far-reaching. Species that had long accepted Council authority now questioned its legitimacy. The Tekeri, Solari, and Ves formally withdrew from technology restriction treaties, declaring their right to pursue their own developmental paths. Others soon followed. 2 weeks after the Battle of Proxima Centauri, the Galactic Council convened an emergency session. This time, Ambassador Rodriguez entered the chamber with representatives from 7 species that had publicly aligned with Earth's position. "The existing order is unsustainable," she declared. "A system that protects the dominance of established powers while suppressing the development of others cannot claim to represent galactic unity." The chamber erupted in arguments and counter-arguments. Some council elders warned of the dangers of unrestricted technological development. Others recognized that change was inevitable. In a historic vote, the council narrowly approved a resolution to reform the technology restriction treaties. The blanket prohibitions would be replaced with a more nuanced system that focused on preventing the weaponization of truly dangerous technologies while allowing for greater innovation. The TSV Defiance returned to Earth as a symbol of humanity's emergence as a significant galactic power. Captain Ilara Chen and her crew were welcomed as heroes, though some criticized them for risking interstellar war. In the newly established Technology Oversight Committee, where Earth now held a permanent seat, Dr. Sofia Rivera explained the principles behind the Phantom Drive to colleagues from a dozen different species. Knowledge that had been hoarded for millennia was finally being shared. "We took an enormous risk," Admiral Takahashi commented as he and Ilara watched the proceedings from an observation gallery. "We did what was necessary," she replied. "Humanity couldn't accept permanent second-class status in the galaxy." "The Council is changed forever," Takahashi observed. "Some say weakened." "I'd say balanced," Ilara corrected. "A system that benefits all its members, not just the oldest and strongest." As she prepared to return to the Defiance for its next mission, this time as an officially recognized vessel of Earth's fleet, Ilara reflected on how quickly everything had changed. One ship, one moment of defiance, had altered the course of galactic politics. The Phantom Drive technology that had once been declared illegal was now being studied openly, its potential for peaceful applications just beginning to be explored. The graviton weapons that had so alarmed the Council were being modified for mining operations and disaster response. Captain Chen, A young ensign called, interrupting her thoughts. The refit is complete. The ship is ready when you are. Ilara nodded, gazing at the Defiance through the viewport. The ship that had been outlawed for being too powerful had become the catalyst for a new era. "Tell the crew we depart in 2 hours," she said. "We have a galaxy to explore."